Happy Father's Day, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. What a week for wrestling fans. My goodness, from Battleground to who has the key to Liv Morgan's hotel room to all the different things, 25-man battle royal, all that and more here on the Heel of the Ring podcast. We'll have the weekend review. Happy Father's Day edition. Let's hit the intro. We'll be right back.
Acknowledge me.
Awesome! You people bought a ticket to see me, so shut up!
Yeah. Sometimes I get so mad, there's no control.
Ladies and gentlemen, just in case you live under a rock,
I might
you
grab
are
a bat,
looking
I
at the
don't know, my
youngest
rap, my
and
blood
best
boils over
rising
like,
star in
oh God, here
professional
goes. I
wrestling,
lost all
man.
feeling from my head to my toes. You said some shit that I can't let go, so just stay tuned for the rest of the show. So have you ever felt betrayed? Switches how you see things, realize something needs change. Cause I know you got me fucked up, let me show you what's up.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the special edition of Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to all the men in your life. Of course, to everyone there on this. What a week of wrestling. My goodness. We're going to review it as quickly, as thoroughly as possible here on a Sunday afternoon here. My God, let's start off with Sunday Spectacular. A week ago, we had NXT Battleground in Vegas from the UFC Apex Arena. My God, we're not going to review every bit of the card, but we're going to talk about it. We're going to try to go through the week on there from Battleground. We saw our inaugural NXT North American Women's Champion. We saw Kalani Jordan go up and win that ladder match, becoming the first ever North American, in a shocker to a lot of wrestling, folks who I guess say know-it-alls. And she just shocked us. Good job for Kalani Jordan winning that in a hell of a tag team match, back and forth with the tag team champions Axiom and Nathan Frazier, defeating the OCs. Gallo and Anderson, in a very underrated, very good tag team match, back and forth. I really enjoyed it. They told a story about the finish, how they got the finish. It made it believable, beating a well-decorated tag team in Gallo and Anderson. Of course, we all talk about that six-man triple threat between Obafemi, Wesley, and Joe Coffey. My God. When I got out of that was who could beat Obafemi. I mean, catching Wesley and with the Meteorota on in the air and just power bombing him and getting the victory. I mean, he is an unstoppable force, and good job there. Obafemi retaining that and moving on. And of course, we talk about the fight of fights with Lola Vice, Shayna Baszler, where a lot of people like it, dislike it. It's the NXT Underground. I would have loved it to be in the cage, but nevertheless, hell of a fight between those two ladies. Seeing Lola Vice win, that was a great aesthetic with with all the pomp and circumstances with the Apex Center. I like to see that. And then the big one where all eyes, the wrestling world, was tuning in, was to see the one and only Jordan Grace taking on Roxanne Perez. Now, I enjoyed it because all eyes there. We're seeing wrestling companies come together, something that we didn't see under the Vince McMahon regime. Kind of like nothing else exists on the level of the WWE. I like that Triple H is extending the olive branches and working with TNA, and I love the fact what they told. We saw a little. It was shenanigans, but not to the point where you're like rolling your eyes. You saw Tatum Paxley want her eye on that title. Then we have Dana, a.k.a. Ash Byellis, come out, interfere. They break that up, as we say, what's going on to our boy, the one and only, el campeón de los campeones de la gente boricua, Mr. Bobby Munoz. What's up, Bobby Munoz? Saludo. Buenas tardes to you, Bobby. Salute, Bobby. Always getting the clap going. I'm always got a clap going on for you, Bobby. So salute to you, Bobby. Thank you. Bobby, you disliked the match. Did you dislike the and this is live. So we're gonna, once the comments come in, we will take comments. We ask you to participate in the chat. We are an honest participation program. We want you to participate. Now, Bobby, you did not did you dislike the Lola Vice match, or what match in particular? Because I looked at the comments and I wanted to acknowledge your comment there as well. We're right now we're now speaking about the women match, the NXT ROXANA getting that victory. I really enjoyed that as we saw how that match progressed, and we move on here. We get Trick Williams taking on Ethan Page, where he wins Ethan, of course, and now we spill into Monday Night Raw. I wait for Bobby to put that in the comments. If he lets me know what he likes, then we'll go on there with Bobby in the Instagram comics. Salute to everyone that joined us in the Instagram comics. Salute to everyone. Salute. And everyone on the Facebook, in the YouTube, Kicks, Rumble, all the different platforms that listen to our voice. Chef Dan is joining us here. We'll go to Monday Night Raw real quick. Let me see first. Let me read Bobby's comments. To me, I see Shayna Baszler. I see someone who is about to twist someone and stomp somebody out. I agree with you. Maybe the finish there, Bobby, you didn't like it, but remember, Lola Vice was undefeated in the Bellator fight as well. You don't have her taking on. I see Lola Vice. I see someone who built a profile on an OnlyFans account. Vision. If you're looking at judging a book by a cover, your comment is totally correct. On only a can account, I agree with that by looks on the cover. But you have to study Lola Vice's resume from Bellator and her jiu-jitsu background and her taekwondo. She could fight. She throws hands. She has knockouts, powering in combat. I don't think I've seen Shayna Baszler really have that many fights as much as Lola Vice there. So I understand where you could get that perception reality look, but Lola can't get over without shaking her butt. Hey, it doesn't help at this point. Chef, what's going on, Chef?
Salute to you, Jet. Salute to everyone in the chat. Salute to everyone joining us. Thank you guys so much. As man, we're breaking down the High-octane wrestling week. And absolutely, happy Father's Day to every father in the in the
Thank
chat,
so
whether
much.
you're enjoying it. Salute, happy Father's Day.
We were just talking to Bobby on the Instagram live account. Was telling us, and Bobby, of course, a good friend of ours. He is the hype man of NXT with the Puerto Rican flag. A friend of mine. I had the privilege to become a friend with Bobby Munoz, who's a wrestler who had a great match about a couple weeks ago down in Daytona. So absolutely. And I just wanted to shout him out on the Instagram app. He's joining us here on a Sunday live here. Obafemi is on fire. We were talking about that. Who could stop Obafemi with NXT? We'll get to the NXT right real quick, because now we're getting into Monday Night Raw. We want to go through the week in review. We don't want to stay too long on some of this, but we're going to talk a little bit about everything. It's a gumbo about the week of wrestling. My goodness, high octane, like we said. We go to Monday Night Raw. We get a rematch with Io Sky and Laura Vicaria. My goodness, I was looking forward to that. We've seen that match. We see it again. I really enjoy when these two ladies get in the ring. We saw that in the Queen of the Ring tournament. I really enjoyed to see those two ladies again, being able to see Laura Vicaria come in from NXT UK and NXT live in person, see her growth. And, of course, what can you say about Io Sky, Chef Dan? I love that match with that one. That's one of my favorite ones on that Monday night, of course, delivering the Nightwing and all the shenanigans that comes out there as Sky defeats Valkyria. You could kind of run it back again. Like, each one women has 1-1 apiece. If you're telling me they're going to have a third match, I'm invested, Chef.
I'm absolutely invested in that. Also because Io Sky is not the same. Ladies and gentlemen, after that matchup last night, we know that Damage Control came out, did what they did, jumped Lyra Valkyria just to make a statement. Who is it? Steve Austin said it before one time. It's nothing personal. It's just business. And that's what they went out there to do, was just handle business and try and make a name for themselves. And they tried to walk away out there feeling like the message had been sent. But according to Io, the message had clearly not been sent. when we really look at it, as interested as I am for this matchup between Lyra and Io, what I'm also interested in is the fact that this is a brand new directionless Damage Control. Remember, before Io Sky had the women's championship, the brains behind Damage Control was Bayley. So now that Bayley is gone, who takes Damage Control to a new level? And that's what Io Sky is trying to figure out, which is why she, even after the vicious beatdown that she ensued on Lyra Valkyria, she let it be known, Damage Control must change. So I'm excited for that.
And one of those main stories that happened that Monday as well, we also seen the whole Liv saga. Liv wants to take on her revenge tour. Now she's champion. How the length and extent that she does. And, of course, the LWO having some issues with Judgment Day, back and forth. Liv getting involved, getting into the head of Dominic Mysterio. We've seen where Liv is in the layer while the guys are out there taking on LWO, leaving an invitation to Dominic Mysterio with a mysterious hotel key where Dominic is confused, holding on to that key, contemplating, how hot was that in his hands for Dominic Mysterio. We see later on part of that storyline where he tells right now, I guess the leader, Damian Priest, El Campeón, there is a key there. And now they put the key on the table and they're all trying to be, solitude together, bros together, bros before any other Joes. I'm not going to say the word, but bro, and of course, those. And then we see the sneakiness of someone swiping the key. We'll leave that for Monday Night Raw for this Monday coming up. We want to leave that with some cliffhangers. That is a big storyline there. Was that key card used? Was it used? Did they use the door? Did they open the forbidden door in Liv's room? We will find out Monday Night Raw on that. And another storyline that is coming out of this on that Monday Night Raw.
I'm sorry.
That is a hot topic because we'll elaborate a little more because more comes out of that. As of today, Liv is tweeting out to Dominic, wishing him a happy Father's Day because he called him that she needs to be treated like a daddy. Now he doesn't need a mommy. He needs to be treated like a daddy. That one put a little bit hot out of the collar for him. My goodness.
Caliente.
And then we see another story. Here's where we see a storyline that was developing that's going to play out later in the week. We saw the Alpha Academy here. With Gable, Otis, the Maxine Dupree, ankle roll, all that stuff, that drama. Can Sami Zayn get in ahead of Alpha Academy? We'll see on that as Monday Night Raw as we get to say goodbye or we go into now Tuesday night in the week of the review here for, the aftermath of Battleground. We get to hear Kalani opening up the show, which I thought it was phenomenal to have her open up the show. I know a lot of people think that she's a little still wet behind here. You could tell by her promo. She was a little nervous getting there. Didn't let the crowd give her acclamation of flowers like you deserve it and she kept talking like that. I give that with nerves. for Kalani. She's only been in a year and a half, on real TV wrestling. Let's see where I believe in the NXT system to help her grow. I loved it. And we have the announcement that the one and only, the greatest politician in wrestling history, Cody Rhodes, was going to be on NXT Tuesday night, bringing some news for our champion, Trick Williams. We have a 25-man over-the-top battle royal with wrestlers from other locker rooms, Chef Dan. Locker rooms. What do you think other locker rooms would mean?
I'm highly excited for it. Not even just for the fact that there's, other locker rooms. It's just also we're going to see, like, in the midst of this 25-man battle royal, stories are going to be told. Some people will not like who eliminated them, when they eliminated them, even how they eliminated them. There will be a plethora of stories told, and I just can't leave it up to, hey, just chalk it up to it being part of the game. Nah, this is going to get grimy. Some guys who we feel like, there's some guys who are going to make an appearance here. Some people that's already in the NXT locker room may feel like, hey, this guy doesn't deserve a chance and he's taking something from me, so I got to make an example out of him. I'm excited for it. And we also find out who is going to be up next to be part of the collection in the Whoop That Trick era.
Yep, and that's going to be settled. The winner of it's this Tuesday night. If you haven't done your confirmation to NXT Live, don't wait because it's Sunday. Get your confirmations there because it's going to be a hell of a 25-man battle royal for determining the number one contender at NXT Heatwave. But we also find out in that Tuesday night, we see a grudge match between Meacham and Jada Parker. Jada Parker loses the match, but it's kind of a storytelling where she's going to have to go to a boundary of ultra heel because she's telling OTM, I want to do this on my own. But meanwhile, we saw Gallows and Anderson interfere where we're getting a collision course for OTM and Anderson and Gallows, along with the both ladies, into a collision course. And of course, I don't think we've seen the end of Jada Parker taking on Meacham, and Meacham's work in NXT. I really enjoying it a little more than the main roster. Though we'll talk about that. We see her later in the week. She has a match against Queen Nia, but I really enjoyed that. I want to see where Jada Parker's character takes her with her anger, if she or what levels does she have to take? Because obviously she needs to take that next level because she was this close and fell short of the ultimate goal to becoming Women's North American Champion.
You're absolutely right, man. What Meechin can potentially do here if she gets the victory over Kalani Jordan would be huge for Meechin's career, for her prestige, and to help the prestige of that title. But on the other end, like you said, we don't know if that's going to happen because Miss Jada Parker is around the corner and she didn't like the way the match with Meechin ended. Granted, I have to be fair and unbiased. Jada Parker kind of did it to herself. You had to have known, grabbing that chair, if you hit Meechin with it while the ref is looking, you're just going to lose via disqualification. So I don't know how she's going to figure this out, but she's got to get to Meechin, and maybe, hey, who knows, Jedi, if things get this heated between Jada, Meechin, and Kalani involved in their potential triple threat no holds barred match with the women's North American title, I'm not opposed to that.
Absolutely. And I wanted to address it since we're on the NXT spot here for Bobby. Bobby said Oba Femi is on fire. He has all the right tools. Absolutely, Bobby. We wanted to address that comment. He does have all the right tools in making. We mentioned that he's going to be an issue for NXT for the men's division because once he gets on that top of that mountain, it's going to be difficult to remove him from that top of the mountain. He could easily have one of those type of Shayna Baszler, Asuka type of run for the men's division in NXT for Obafemi because he's well-spoken on the microphone. My God, that man speaks so well on the microphone. His comments, his cadence in a promo, he just looks like a true African prince, king, emperor, ruler, whatever you want to put it there, because he fits the part. My God, they found themselves no pun intended, a diamond mine in the NIL when it comes to Obafemi.
Jedi, I'm of the thought process. He could be such a special talent. What he does with that North American title, we may not even see him with the NXT title, not for anything other than like, hey, let's just quickly bring him up and use him because he doesn't need it. He could be of the ilk of just, like the way he carries himself, the way he looks. It would be nice for him to have that NXT title run, but it'd be like, for what? For him to just smash and beat everyone and prove how dominant he is? He's already doing that at the North American level. So, I mean, he's just so good. He's generational. He's generational. That's all I can say.
All right. And we got to see something that we saw Wes Lee having an issue with Gallus Boys. All three members of the Gallus Boys has some friends in the New Catch Republic. Good to see Tyler Bates and the big strong boy Tyler Bates along with Pete Dunne back at NXT helping out Wes Lee in a good back and forth match there. I really enjoyed it despite the fact that Catalyst got the pin on Wes Lee, but always 6-man tag action. always nice to see Tyler Bates in the NXT ring. One of my favorite guys there, the big strong boy. I like his whole gimmick, his whole stick. He's one of those clean, fun, young wrestlers that you want your children to watch wrestle because he just fits that. You know, wrestling is a variety show for a little bit of everyone. Not just us older folks. Also, there's kids watching it. And Tyler Bates fits that mold. And I always say that about a Tyler Bates match that I'm like, yeah, I enjoy that there. But we go to another extreme, Chef Dan. We see the arrival, the return in a dark way of Wendy Choo. Wendy Choo comes back and from her sleepy time, but she woke up at Nightmare Choo. And what is your thoughts of Nightmare Choo getting the victory over Brittany Reese? I like the new addition of Wendy Choo.
I'm very. It's piqued my interest. Highly piqued my interest. I'm looking forward to seeing what she can do, what she gets into, but also how she. Where does she put herself into the roster as far as like what picture to kind of give someone else nightmares? She's going to start slowly but surely build herself back up. She's coming off of an injury. It's scary word, but she's here. She's back, and I love what she's become. There's more to it. There's absolutely more to it. I don't know how to say it. I'm just a kid with open arms, sitting, waiting, patient, and I'm here to see what Nightmare Choo is capable of because this is different. This is I love it. I love the aesthetics, the face paint, the way she came out, and even the ring gear, everything perfect. 10 out of 10. I'm excited for it, but also I'm scared for the women in the locker room. Especially someone like Ariana Grace, that lady's gonna give you nightmares and chase you around for months on end.
And for those that want to see a little reference, although she wasn't a heel in this battle, but her matches with Tiffany Stratton, where she was very upset at Tiffany, where she bought out Legos, hardcore matches with Wendy Choo. Just take a look at that. Some of the matches with her and Tiffany Stratton. Again, not totally heel, but she could borrow from that persona where she wasn't the heel, but she wrestled like the heel against Tiffany Stratton, bringing it. If I'm going to get that Wendy Choo, yes, I like the repackaging for Wendy Choo. In my opinion, my book, I cannot wait to see that for the ladies, for Miss Choo and company there. Definitely. We're going to wrap up almost here. The ending of, we saw some caning. Speaking of nightmares, my goodness, Lexi King and Dante Chen, they might be seeing nightmares with all the Kindle stick whipping. Just simple, real quick. It was just a simple back and forth whipping. Lexi King and Dante Chen, I got to give kudos to those warriors to taking those welts to entertain us, Chef. I got to give them that.
That was a highly entertaining matchup from the start. Dante Chen made sure that Lexi King did not have a quote-unquote extravagant entrance. Came out there and let him know, I am not to be messed around with. You tried to take me out last week. I'm here to do the same to you. And they put on a banger of a matchup. It was just a banger. Talk about violence personified. That's what that was. It was just so, I just hear it. I just hear the cane. I can hear it just in my head over and over, and just both of them wincing and what they were able to do. I especially love this a vicious maneuver that Lexi King did, where he adjusted the cane to Dante Chen's throat and just slammed Dante Chen's head, the cane and the head onto the mat, just kind of making a bit of a javelin right at Dante Chen's throat. This goes to show the level of violence that the TV star Lexi King is willing to put on to give us all a show. And that's why he is royalty and was able to get the victory.
Long live Lexi King. And then one of the repackages, and an exciting repackaging, a match where we saw Eddie Thorpe rising to the fire, taking on Trevian Heights, the man that goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, in a match where reintroducing Eddie Thorpe, from the fire for the repackaging. Artie Thorpe with the Indian gear or the war paint on his eyeballs. It gets the victory there. Of course, Shawn Spears and Javon Evans. And this is a classic where Evans taking on Spears, where a veteran taking on the young OG to show us what he's got, how bouncy and how well he follows a match with the veteran Shawn Spears. If you're looking at it from a wrestling match, I want to ask Bobby's point. Now, Bobby, if you're still with us on the Instagram live comments, your thoughts of Javon Evans. I think he followed that match. You are a wrestler. You see Javon Evans, up and coming, 20 years old. Did he follow the match, the ring general of a Shawn Spears in your eyes, your thoughts? I would like to hear your thoughts. To me personally, again, I'm not the trained professional eye of the wrestler, but I thought Javon Evans and Shawn Spears told the story where Javon Evans, of course, he hurt his ribs on that table. Is he medically cleared to be at the Battle Royal? Only time will tell. I thought, Chef, that match to me was a hell of a match there. NXT, I mean, there's still a couple of matches we haven't talked about. Bought it on Tuesday night.
Jedi, it showed me, a lot of impressive things that match. A lot of impressive things. There was one thing Shawn Spears came away with letting Javon Evans know, is that throwing caution to the wind is ultimately going to keep costing you in a match against a ring technician like Shawn Spears. Exactly. I love young OG. I love his high-flying prowess. I love everything that he provides to the ring. Shawn Spears he taught him a lesson there in that matchup. He baited, goaded him, made sure he had it in his head that, hey, he's about to finish this off on that one move. And that one move, funny enough, ironically, churned the tables on the young OG.
Yes. And Bobby says absolutely, 100%. He followed the match, the ring general, and of course, you could see the developmental system, what WWE does from on All Elite Wrestling. That it doesn't even compare to NXT. That's Bobby's comment. He says AEW doesn't even compare it to the NXT brand. And also, I like the fact that they're allowing Spears, which we know he was in the WWE before, prior leaving it and to All Elite Wrestling. Didn't get a lot of TV time. We know the backstory of it. Now he's here. They trusted him with a very super young uber talent and up and coming with a Javon Evans. They told the story. They did a job there, and it was a highly superficial, entertaining match. I wouldn't mind seeing another time again. Before, that was the old rhetoric before in WWE. Oh, repeat matches, 50-50 booking, yada yada, all the stuff that's happening now in the other company that used to complain about WWE under Vince McMahon. But you know what? In this Triple H, Shawn Michaels era with Regal Milio, they're telling stories, and they could make it sense when they want to run back a match, where we're asking now as fans, I want to see that again. You're telling me I want to see Meacham and Jada Parker again. I want to see now again. Give me another Javon and Spears match again. Yes, I wouldn't mind seeing a third installment of Dante Chen and Lexi King. Yeah, Dante Chen. That's great storytelling and appealing to what we want to see as a wrestling consumer.
You ready for this? This is how smart they are as a booking company. They knew how long we wanted to see Gunther Sheamus 3. We talked it up. Yo, that could be a pay-per-view match, this, that, whatever, all that. When did they decide to give it to us? King of the Ring. Make it mean something.
Right.
It's just like these guys, they know what they're doing. And Gunther and Sheamus, the first 2 times they had a matchup, something was on the line, and but even then, it felt like, hey, if the Intercontinental Championship wasn't on the line, they were going to put on the banger that they did. Then they decided to do what they did with King of the Ring, which is just as great a matchup as the first 2 they put on, and also the one day, the triple threat that they put on with Drew McIntyre. So I'm all for these rematches that they do, especially because, like you said, there's a reason for the rematch, and the match doesn't look the same from the last match you saw, and that's the best thing about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And we move on to we find the state of the women's segment, you could say, where Roxanne Perez and wants to see who she's taking on Ava's challenger from other company, knocked her out. Is there another, dare I say, another women that Ava has in mind? And all of a sudden we saw a lot of different ladies throwing their names on there, including one JC Jane, who got the dashing Cody Rhodes gift of the face mask, and of course she comes out with Jasmine Nix, Lola Vice throwing her name in there, and we're starting to see the women's division where a lot of different ladies want a piece of Roxanne Perez. Why not? She just showed out. She just beat the TNA Knockouts champion, and she's on cloud nine. You could say one of the top women wrestlers in all of professional wrestling, and all women. And of course Lash Legend with Jakara Jackson comes out. I'm funny because it looked like they were teasing a 6-woman or triple threat match there, but no. Lola Vice eyeing that title. I like the way they closed it, because they left that I gotta watch next Tuesday. Everything in WWE right now, you have to watch the next show. It gets you over to the next show. It's called building bridges, and they'll continue to build bridges, Chef Dan.
Absolutely. But the biggest thing I found out is Ava didn't lie. She did not lie. Best women's division in the game is NXT. It's ladies' night.
Absolutely. So we'll move on. That's Tuesday night. We go into Wednesday, where that's a night of rest. There's no real wrestling going on Wednesday nights, and that's a night of rest there. And the numbers show it, ladies and gentlemen. We see the rest of the numbers on cable TV. And we go into Thursday, where we go and talk about TNA Impact. So TNA Impact is their go-home show right before double against All Odds in Chicago. I mean, one of the biggest thing that came out of that TNA Impact was the System was going to visit the Hardy compound, and man, definitely want to get to. I'll get to that, Bobby. I'm not going to ignore your comment. We're definitely going to get to that, Bobby. Your final comment, your comment there on the bottom. We're definitely going to address that. Let me wrap up the TNA here, where we saw them at the compound, where they throw a little bit of the American Wolf to some, playing mind games. We saw Moose putting on his Patriot helmet and getting mind games there. We saw Alicia Edwards almost get her head off with her head from Rebel. And of course from Reba and all the different Hardy kids in that compound. We saw a tease of Brother Nero painting there. We all know the name, that he was rumored to be a free agent and yada yada. I you know what? For the budget that TNA Impact has, again, where all the things against them, I thought this was done very, very fun, different. And it took you away from a promo segment. I really enjoyed the whole Hardy compound. Too bad it wasn't around Halloween time. But you know what? It could, for some people, they lived that Halloween 24 365. I like the Chef. I don't know about you.
They are the innovators of it, of this cinematic style matchup. TNA is really the first one to do these cinematic style matchups. So sometimes they can be hit, sometimes they can be missed, depending on the audience and what they're looking for. I think this one was truly a hit. They got every point across and what they needed to get across, and also you did what you needed, especially in regards to Moose and his character, and it helped build to what happened on Saturday. So it was a hit for me. I enjoyed it. I truly enjoyed it.
One of the hottest wrestlers on TNA right now, growing in all of wrestling, my opinion. It's just Mike Santana took on Zachary Wentz and defeated him with Trey Miguel in his corner. No Steve Macklin didn't come out, but he came out later in the match to interfere and stop the onslaught there. But Mike Santana, we saw him putting on a hell of a card last weekend at House of Glory Wrestling, where the Puerto Rican wrestlers were showcased it there. Of course, I mentioned that. I should have done a review on that, because that was a hell of a card. I enjoyed from start to finish House of Glory. I hope Mike Santana continues to do that every Puerto Rican Saturday, Puerto Rican weekend in New York in for the House of Glory. I really enjoyed it from Mike Santana, who's one of the hottest wrestlers right now out there. We also saw Marty Bell with Alicia Key taking on Masha Slamovich. Slamovich, one half of the tag team champions. Both ladies are scheduled to fight each other, wrestled all four for the Knockouts Tag Team titles later the next day at Chicago. And, of course, Statlander and Brooks with the backstage where she doesn't know what she's going to give PCO an answer to her invitation. But we see that AJ Francis steals the rose and with Rich Swann from Miss Statlander to where PCO doesn't take any kindly after. Comes after AJ Francis and Rich Swann and runs them off the platform, and they're looking to see that's going to set up a match at Against All Odds. We got Danny Luna, yes, defeat Tasha Steelz, and that one I was shocked because to me I have highly regard, and I am a huge fan of Tasha Steelz. I am a big fan of Tasha Steelz, and so Danny Luna get that victory the way she did on the roll up there. Not a bad match there. To my surprise to see Tasha take the loss there, and of course we get our All Eyes to Against All Odds. Now, we were doing a simultaneous watch along as Bobby says. By the way, he used to wrestle Santana in the Bronx back in 2011. Santana is from the Bronx, New York as well. Very proud New Yorican for Mike Santana. And if you have to check out his story there, I believe it's on the TNA YouTube channel, where he's overcame fighting for addiction and the demons that he battled to get clean and persevere. Phenomenal story from Mike Santana. He's told it many times, and now he has it on TNA for documentary. I advise you to watch it, man. That's an inspiration there. What he just said is he did it. His daughter just wanted him to stop, but he got hit with a reality. Something got to hit rock bottom. So I know he's feeling proud of what he's done and overcome here on a Father's Day for Mike Santana. So we get into it. We were doing a double watch along. I can't believe we did that while TNA was on with SmackDown from Scotland. Let's go with Against All Odds. Then we'll leave SmackDown, and then we go right into the Clash of the Castle because we got some good stuff that came out of Clash of the Castle from the TNA Against All Odds. We were back and forth, so we're not going to give you specific details of but we're going to say what we saw from the main whole idea there. We saw Alicia Edwards and Masha Slamovich versus the Knockouts Tag Team in the early part. Sami Callihan and Jonathan Gresham. Of course, they kicked it off back and forth. Kushida is back. Took a swab out of Gresham to find out, what is it in his gimmick that is in that ink. Callihan defeats Gresham. I don't know. I couldn't add too much to that because we were watching. And, of course, we see Edwards and Slamovich defeat the Hex to retain their title. Of course, they put the women's wrestling knockouts. The knockouts always deliver. Steve Macklin with Santana taking on those Rascals. Macklin and Santana defeat the Rascals there in a hell of a match. That was a pretty good match. We were watching that one and talking on it back and forth, and we were excited. We saw PCO defeat Rich Swann. PCO at the age that he is, doing moonsaults and entertaining. There's room for wrestling for a PCO, Chef. I mean, I know you want to say something because I know you're a big PCO admirer.
Absolutely, it's room for PCO because he's not doing too much, and it don't seem. I don't even want to say the name, but I have to say it. It's not like Ric Flair.
Oh no, there's a difference. There's a difference in their style and their fighting from PCO. PCO is, I know what you mean. I know exactly.
Granted, I know he's more of a risk taker, but Jedi, it's like, I'm sorry, it's not like Rick, where like you clearly knew at a certain point. It's like, come on, like someone's got to tell him to stop.
Yeah.
PCO. First, I think he's a guy that takes great care of himself. That's the only way you keep in the game is by you're doing the little things off the outside of the ring in order to keep yourself going in the ring. But also the man was just that was an excellent storytelling matchup. The way it ended with what's her name?
Chris Statlander came out and yes, that's a big important detail. Read the note that PCO had left her, and I don't know if you want to reveal it, but it looks like her and PCO are going on a date. They're going on a date, man. That's nice. Statlander and PCO, man. Wonder where they're gonna go to. Man, Olive Garden it is. Man.
I mean, the man, I say, the man is French Canadian. Somewhere in that French Canadian French part, the French part, he knows good food, and he's not gonna take it just some janky Olive Garden, you know.
Oh, well, let's hope not. I mean, you haven't seen the quality of restaurants here in Orlando, but we move on here. We have a tag team match, the TNA World Tag Teams. We have the System in Eddie Edwards and Myers taking on the brothers, the Nemeth brothers. They, of course, is the formerly known. What was his formerly known name in the WWE that everybody wants to? Yes. You know, the Nemeth brothers. Listen, I am happy that he is the most wanted man outside of the WWE. Phenomenal job with that tag team match. I just can't get into his gimmick. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because the WWE put me on to not appreciating him. Hey, they didn't get the victory, although Dirty Dango, which is the old Fandango, came out character and turned on them. And now the System grew one man more. It is what it is. I'm not into Nick Nemeth too much. That's just me. I guess listening to him on Busted Open, I just totally swayed me somewhere else.
I will say, man, I want to believe in Nick Nemeth. I really want to. It's just that and I don't know, maybe I have to tune into TNA to see what's going on between him and his brother, but I just feel like if he really is serious about reinventing himself as a wrestler, and like when he started off the Most Wanted Man, it was all right, it came off. I like the buzz. Where could he potentially go with it? I'm not saying this because I don't believe in his brother, but I just think as a whole, if you really and I know that wrestling is a collaborative effort. But I think if Nick Nemeth really wants to work on his career and show the range of storytelling that he can tell, because that's the biggest thing. We know he can go in the ring. Can he tell a story? We know he can go in the ring. We know he can sell correctly. But can you tell a story? And we're watching Mustafa Ali be able to tell a story in TNA by himself. I think if Nick Nemeth wants to do that, you're going to have to do that by yourself. You can't involve your brother in the story because, for one, we know you, we don't know your brother. And then to get to know your brother is a whole thing in and of itself. And then after we get to know him, we have to decide whether we like him or not. And then from there, what's going to be the dynamic between you and your brother? It's too much. Work on yourself right now. Work on yourself.
We'll see. We'll see on that. We'll move on here to one of the most hottest over non-WWE wrestler in all of professional wrestling. You say his name and he appears. Joe Henry with Ace Steel, who Ace Steel, by the way, said he was going to be in his corner, as we saw on the night before on the Go Home show on TNA Impact Hour. And, of course, he's taking on the veteran Frankie Kazarian in a match here where, my God, Joe Henry, I mean, he's all over social media. I mean, WWE programming. We saw him in Scotland, before the SmackDown kicked off in his own billboard. The Scottish wrestler, his name is being pronounced even in NXT. Rumored has it he might be in that battle royal with Rick Williams. Nevertheless, the veteran Kazarian defeats Henry, where it leads to a match where Ace Steel is going to take on Frankie Kazarian coming this Thursday night at the NXT Impact. Joe Henry continues to be on fire. Speaking on fire, a wrestler who bet on himself, transformed his physique, and he's out there campaigning harder than Cody Rhodes, the X Division champion, Mustafa Ali, taking on former Mustache Mountain member Trent Seven in a hell of a match for X Division champion. I mean, you look at it, looks could be deceiving, Chef. The match of the night, in my opinion, between Mustafa and Trent Seven, I loved it, from the 450 splashes and then he gets the sharpshooter submission for Mustafa Ali because he worked on the missed knee on Trent Steven, wiping out his knee. Steven Seven. Totally told the story, Chef Dan, for Mustafa Ali, his physique, his wrestling storytelling, his ring general, the way, when I mean ring general, the way he controls the match with the Trent Seven as a champion. Mustafa Ali, phenomenal job. Sometimes things happen for a good reason when you leave a company or you get exiled, whatever. And for Mustafa Ali, it's been a blessing. This guy. Thank you, Anna Lee. I'm doing well. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Jedi. Yeah, absolutely right. I think, man, there's another matchup that I think we're like this. Next two matchups, they compete for matchup tonight. But I think that one, as far as like storytelling wise, I think if you want to do it from a bit of a storytelling wise, I think that would be the number one matchup, especially when you look at the fact that the way it started off, Trent Seven making sure, all right, you feel like you have all this love here in your hometown, here in Chicago. We're here in Chicago. I'm going to do something for you, buddy. I'm going to play the tape because the cameras were still rolling. I'm going to play the tape of what you said about your own hometown and the way Mustafa Ali just berated Chicago. It was great in a way because he actually flipped his own hometown to booing him. Wonderful. So now Trent Seven actually like applies the pressure through there and lets it be known. All right, Mustafa Ali's a bad guy. I'm the good guy. This is where it should go. And from there, they just had a banger of a matchup as far as storytelling wise, and the ability to. He just looks better. Like you said, Jedi. He just looks better. Mustafa Ali just looks better.
And personally, I'm gonna be
storytelling. Yeah.
Personally, from go ahead.
I just wanted to say this Thursday, not a normal matchup. Ace Steel versus Frankie Kazarian in a Chicago street fight. So please tune in Thursday for that one. It's gonna be a big matchup. I'm excited for that.
I think from the X division on, the matches, you could say candidate match of the night. The card got to another level of intensity of, my goodness. If I tell you want to skip these, although I'm not gonna crap on the competitors that wrestled like Masha Slamovich, Alicia Edwards, and so for the ladies, and of course PCO. No, it was an entertaining card, but from here right now, this was where the card just took it up a notch. Mustafa Ali said, "Here, follow this," and they did. Everyone else from here on out, the card continued to get even greater because you had the walking weapon Josh Alexander with Eric Young taking on Ace Austin and Chris Bay, where they called ABC, in a freaking another good match there. Whenever you have the walking weapon in any of the matches, along with the veteran Young, my God, and then very underrated tag team in ABC, put on a hell of a match. Great job there. Austin pulling out some old school McFoley Esquire with grabbing by the balls, the claw on Bay, just giving him some of them. Of course, some people say roll their eyes. That's not part of wrestling, yada yada. But it's a place in certain type of match, especially when you're putting on some different types of styles of matches. You're like, a little change of space. You didn't expect that from that part of the match from Alexander because he's supposed to be a technical wrestler. You're like, oh, damn. He's putting out the stop. I love the matching black and red gear. All those things look like a Canadian national team. It looked great on that match there. I advise you to watch it. We'll go right into it because I don't want to take too long because we still got to review 2 more shows and we got a little bit of news. I don't want to keep the audience on too long. Knockouts champion Jordynne Grace has an open challenge. And who answers the challenge? But first, we get an interruption because it's Ash by Elegance wants to have a seat and watch the match at ringside. But we get to find out who is the challenger. NXT's own Tatum Paxley comes out. Now, Tatum Paxley, and again, the internet loves to, or Twitter loves to crap on, and folks that don't know, everyone that has the least of a comment or an opinion has the most opinion. Tatum Paxley has been involved in the storyline with Jordynne Grace from the very beginning, even from her backstage promo or backstage when she's meeting the female wrestlers, that she wanted a piece of, she loved it, that title. She liked the design of the Knockouts title, and it caught her eye. We saw her at Battleground. She went and grabbed the Knockouts title, wanted to possess it herself, where Ash by Elegance interfered. There's a storyline there. It's not that they took a random. I heard one tweet. Oh, we send them their Knockouts champion, and they send us this random girl who don't get TV time. You're not watching the product. You just want to be a contrarian. You just want to be clickbaiter. You want to be people to read my tweet or disagree with you. There's no line for that. If you're going to talk about wrestling, have some fundamentals, have some background, have some truth to behind your statement. Tatum Paxley has been involved in the storyline from Jordan Grace's arrival to NXT Performance Center. Now she ends up with the match. Forget about the shenanigans. The match itself, Tatum Paxley took her wrestling level to another. I'm going to give kudos and applause to all the NXT coaches in the Performance Center, from Bloom to Terry Taylor to Shawn Michaels to Fit Finley to, if I miss you out there, some of the performers out there, Norman Smiley. You guys are doing a hell of a job, because when these ladies go outside of the company, when they go to either Reality of Wrestling to wrestle or to right now to TNA or any other different places, they are putting on a hell of a match. Tatum Paxley, your thoughts on Tatum going to that match with Jordan Grace?
It was a very, very, very good matchup. If you guys haven't been watching NXT, then of course you wouldn't know about Tatum Paxley. I remember, like, the other thing too is, if you watch Tatum Paxley and you she didn't pop on your screen, then you just don't know talent. I literally remember watching NXT Level Up, and the first time she appeared on my screen, first thing I asked Jedi and Terrence, because they're more familiar, I said, who is this girl and how come she's not on NXT right now? Explained it to me, this, that, whatever. I'm like, okay, she's the next up. She's got the aura, the way she walked out. Her work with Lyra Valkyria was spot on, perfect.
Yeah.
Without the sexual innuendo, it reminded me of Mickie James and Trish Stratus.
Great compliments for Tatum Paxley. Very good compliment.
Not only that, but here's the funniest part. Like, to the guys, to the people who really think they're wrestling fans or this, that, whatever. I'm watching Tatum Paxley. I'm not saying to say, I'm watching her and Jordan Grace. And I'm like, yo, she belongs in there. She kind of why is it, even down to the ring gear and the way she wrestled, I'm like, why does this feel like home? And then to find out online, one of her biggest influences was Daphne. The swinging neck breaker that we saw on the second rope, that wasn't a swinging neck breaker. I'm like, yo, that was Daphne's lobotomy, her finisher move. But from the second, I'm like, oh, yes. She knows what she's doing with this. She knows what she's doing. Just because y'all don't see the vision, calm down. Y'all just don't see the vision yet. That's it. To the IWC, y'all just don't see the vision. Y'all don't know what's happening in front of y'all, clearly. And we can explain it later on with what else happened on some other cards. But yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we get right into the main event. Moose one-on-one against Matt Hardy, Broken Hardy, and of course, everyone's like, oh, Moose is going to destroy Hardy and yada, yada. And this was match. I'm like, there was organized chaos in TNA, that main event with Moose and Hardy, tables, chairs, ladders. We even got his wife interferes, where Moose ends up spearing Reba right into and it gets the pin on Hardy, and then all the shenanigans with the system coming out and interfering. Out comes Joe Henry. Out comes the Nemeth Boys. Here comes so-and-so, and all of a sudden the return of his brother Jeff Hardy returns, a reunion of the Hardy Boys on TNA. What a way to close the live event from Chicago. They're calling it a premium live event. We'll call it a premium live event, pay-per-view, whatever you want to call it. I really enjoyed to see them where Jeff and Matt Hardy make sense in TNA, not the WWE, nor not even NXT, not even AEW. They kind of make sense in TNA for the atmosphere that it's needed. I don't know if you agree or disagree. I think and I hope both boys don't get in some trouble. You know, they have their own personal demons outside of the business, especially Jeff. Well, we all document and know. But I hope this opportunity for the Hardys, they really embellish and excel in TNA wrestling.
I'm in agreement with you 100% to the fact that I think when they're in TNA, that's when they do their best creative work. We see them in other companies and it's not the same. The other companies, weird, like it's weird enough. The other companies just want the Team Extreme Hardy Boys. That's what they want. And then they go to TNA and they do stuff that's so good that the companies want them back and go, oh, well, you can start off as Team Extreme, but then we want you to get into what you're really doing here and the other stuff. But then they devolve them right back to Team Extreme.
Right.
And don't let them be as creative as they can. But we know when the Hardy Boys, when you let them be creative, it's really good stuff. We see Matt with Broken Matt. That's the epitome right there. But even Jeff, man, like people didn't understand what Willow was, and I got it. It wasn't the ultimate best creative, but I understood what Willow meant and what Willow was, and that's Jeff being creative in a way that they didn't let him be creative in other companies. So, like you said, when they're in TNA, that's when their creative juices get to flowing the best. I think that's good, not only for them, but osmosis-wise, that's good for everyone on that roster. They help push the narrative and the envelope so much. So, like you said, I think they belong in TNA. I think those are the guys that, like, literally, like, follow Tommy Dreamer's footsteps, end up helping book matches and things of that nature because they just had the gift over there in TNA.
Yes, and hopefully we'll see that going forward for the Hardy Boys. Would I ever see them in the WWE? I wouldn't with this promo, with this collaboration of crossovers. You never know. Never say never. But their best work is in TNA, like we agree. We go on to Friday Night SmackDown. We're almost to the end of the line here for the wrestling week. We are Friday Night SmackDown from Scotland, from Glasgow, the home of Clash at the Castle. First of all, the kickoff show. I love that they had the kickoff press conference like a rally for the city of Scotland. Love all the things that came out. The crowd surfing for Cody Rhodes looked phenomenal, looked great, no pun intended. It looked phenomenally awesome on TV, and I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed the back and forth from Piper Niven and Bayley. She said she never left, she never went anywhere. She stood here. She didn't need to go anywhere. She's waving the women's flag of the WWE. I love that from hearing her. Seeing that from her, what came out of that press conference. Damian Priest, hey, I'm from the Bronx. This is not hostile. This is not hostile. It's just people booing. I love when Raymond Priest said that, and I love how he trolled them. No lo entiendo. No te oigo. No lo entiendo. I don't understand you guys. Talking about the high volume of the Scottish accent. I love that too. Ultimate heel knowing that, and Drew McIntyre relishing the crowd and home crowd and hearing the love of the people there. I love that there. We'll get to SmackDown now with it. I like that they warm up the crowd. We saw it in Puerto Rico Backlash. I like when they do that in France and yada yada. I loved it. Let's go to SmackDown here. Here's the matches that we're going to talk about. Is Naomi versus Chelsea Green, DIY on the Grayson Waller effect, AJ Styles and Cody Rhodes. They're going to have a promo battle, or they're going to have a last prep before the match. And we go, of course, Mia Yim versus Nia Jax, and Kevin Owens and Solo Sikoa was the main event. But I like the fact that Naomi taking on Chelsea, but Naomi did not come alone. She came with the women's champion Bayley. Of course, Chelsea Green with Piper Niven. Who doesn't want to see Chelsea Green on a match back and forth? And we get Naomi beat Chelsea Green, but it was a classic. We more eyes were on the competitors of tomorrow, of the next night of Clash of the Castle. They told the story. I think they're gearing Naomi for a Money in the Bank run, in my opinion. I could see that happening for Naomi for SmackDown. We'll move on to, we didn't see, forgot to mention Apollo Crews. Yes, congratulations to Apollo. They flew you all the way to Scotland to have a match with Santo Escobar. All right. You just wasn't in catering. You had a match. And, of course, Escobar defeats Apollo Crews. I don't think, Chef, do I have to have anything more about Apollo and Santo?
No.
No? All right. I hope he took a lot of pictures in Scotland for Apollo. There you go. And we get Nia Jax and Mia Yim going at it. Queen Nia, let's get it right. And of course, we see. I love it. It wasn't a long match. It was a short one, but of course, remember Mia Yim has a match for the North American title this Tuesday coming up. But Nia Jax gets the Banzai for a quick contest, gets the victory because you had Tiffany Stratton at ringside. Tiffany wants to be the princess of the ring, teasing a tag team between these two ladies. Maybe they could team them up, and maybe they're a threat to LHM, Lord have mercy, which Bianca and Jade, who are they could be a threat for their women's title. But we'll see if they tease that. But Tiffany throws the drink in Mia's face. Tiffany gets thrown over the barricade. In comes Nia with the squash, and we get the victory. We move on there, of course. One of the biggest, Logan Paul, did not win the tournament for Tetris, but he gets back home to Dorado, Puerto Rico, and he has a visitor from L.A. L.A. Knight in his pool, chilling and relaxing. One thing is, he should have had a cheese snacks. He should have had a board of snacks and just eating in the pool there. But L.A. Knight looking and telling Logan Paul he wants that U.S. title. I think everyone and their mother wants L.A. Knight to win that U.S. title. Yeah. And, of course, we see some backstage with Kevin Owens with the Profits. Said they got their back, but the new bloodline, beats the living crap out of them where they're not medically clear. Kevin Owens has to come out on his own against Solo. Of course, the back and forth. Solo upset at Heyman, says, if I don't win, it's on you, and I'm coming after you. I mean, threatening the wise man isn't wise enough, Chef. I don't know why would you do that. Why would you threaten the wise man? That's not cool.
It's not cool. It's not funny. It's not cute. Poor Paul. He's just going grayer and grayer by the days.
Indeed. And so, we saw Sokoa defeat Owens out there, and of course, until Randy comes out for the save. Randy back in the picture, saving Kevin Owens, our RKO team, as they went off the air. But one thing that we left out, and I wanted to wait before we go into the Clash of the Castle, was the promo battle between Cody Rhodes and AJ Styles, where AJ Styles, I thought it sounded so comfortable, and he cooked on the microphone, pretty much calling Cody a quitter, leaving all the different places when things got a little tough. He walked away from this. He walked away from New Japan, WWE, New Japan. He gave his whole resume of Cody Rhodes, but I like Cody Rhodes' comeback. I moved on for something greater or bigger. And I was like, ooh. I don't know. That promo battle was extremely, very juicy. And I thought Cody, although AJ cooked, but Cody bought the side dishes along with the main steak.
Absolutely. That's more appropriate. Yeah. AJ definitely cooked, but Cody had some side dishes to add to the platter. That's definitely the best way to put it. AJ, man, it just even sucks knowing that he's not, like, we don't know what's next for him after this, because clearly they're setting up for Cody Rhodes versus the new bloodline, Cody and Solo. But man, if anything, I hope AJ stays committed to this in some way, in some form, or finds a new rivalry to have, because AJ's promo ability being put on display once again.
And we're gonna hear from AJ.
I can say this, Jedi. Unbeknownst to his own ability, Cody finds a way to put other people over.
We'll be hearing from AJ later on in the program. We've got a little bit of exclusive. But let's go right into the Clash of the Castle, the premium live event. And we got a question from Bobby that we're going to get to soon. Bobby, I promise you we're going to get to your question. We're not ignoring it. We just we want to keep it in the timeline of the question, which is going to be a good one. But let's go with from Glass now. I mean, looks phenomenal. Clash of the Castle. Remember, quality over quantity. Everyone's complaining they want some or the contrarians. Oh, why can't we? People paid all that. I'd rather have the 13 wrestling matches and get my money's worth. Well, quality over quantity, because right off the bat they gave you the undisputed undisputed WWE Championship, the I Quit match between Cody Rhodes and AJ Styles, 45 minutes. 45 minutes, almost an Iron Man match, where we saw everything: kendo sticks, stairs, Mama Rose getting in and getting physical, throwing in a couple of slaps, 3 in a row, and so forth. Back and forth, near fall finishes, handcuffs, you name it. I mean, AJ Styles and Cody Rhodes told a hell of a hardcore I Quit match, where ultimate Cody Rhodes picks up the stairs while AJ is handcuffed. Think about it. You're in a vulnerable position in a corner. You're handcuffed. You just got 6 chair shots to your back. And this guy's getting a steel steps with a look in his eye that he's about to bash your head in, and you have nowhere to go. It makes sense that I say I quit. Everyone's saying, oh, that was a lame finish. Put yourself in that situation.
No. No. I know you're not talking to me. I totally agree with you 100% in that matter. The match was really, really good. Match was a story was being told, like you said, everything. If there is one gripe I have about this match, and I don't know what, maybe it went to show the depth in how much and how far and just how far they're willing to go for what they wanted. But I have to ask, did we need Cody to pass out from the SCF just to be re-woken up? Because in prior I Quit matches, they kind of ended the match right there. As opposed to Cody being passed out, the ref telling AJ, I can't do anything until he wakes up and says I quit. So now AJ has to go get a bottle of water to wake him up. That's fair. I think if anyone brings that up, that's more than fair. And I can say, I just don't know. I don't know how they could excuse that. I don't know how they could explain that.
Yes.
Because I said,
one of the.
Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. No, I was going to say, one of the greatest I Quit matches of all time, Bret the Hitman Hart versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. He didn't say I quit. He passed out.
Exactly. And that made Steve Austin. Now, you don't really necessarily need, Steve Austin was a made man with the 316 thing, but that, as far as that, further made him as a competitor. These two guys, neither of them needed to be made, but then, like, if that's the case, like, you kind of, once you do the pass out spot, you poo-poo on that, and to a certain extent, you even poo-poo on the fact of what Cody went through with Brock Lesnar. If you remember, him and Brock had a match where Brock put the Kimura on Cody. Cody didn't tap out. He passed out, and that's how they ended the match. So
good point. I totally forgot about that. Good point on that. I totally forgot about that. You made a great point there where we got some. Lucy, you got some explaining to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
For all those who don't know wrestling, that's from I Love Lucy, where Ricky Ricardo used to say that. A little aging myself a little bit there, but you know what? I give you kudos on that. Although we saw at the beginning of the match the referee giving instructions to AJ Styles. The ropes are loose. You read his lips. The ropes are not as wide as is normally. They're overseas. I don't know what the logistic is of them. Either shipping their ring across the pond, yada yada. I don't know what's involved in the logistics to send certain ring equipment, either ring cages. We saw when they send it to Saudi Arabia and so forth. I don't know what's the logistics behind the WWE and their equipment, but they showed the ring ropes were not as sharp or as springy as WWE's accustomed to in the States. It plays part of this whole premium live event. But all in all, AJ Styles, good job there. Especially one of the parts that it's going either viral for either comedy or it was a great spot where AJ is about to springboard and Cody hits him with the chair and he falls on the table. That was a hell of a spot. Good timing on that. That was executed perfect. To you could say Tom and Jerry type or cartoon. It was perfect. I enjoy that. I thought the match 45 minutes was not a boring match. It was a good spot, and then we see Solo Sikoa kind of like coming out and just like being that facetious liking and egging Cody on that we're hey, congrats, and then boom, out comes the new bloodline to beat the living crap out of him, all to get saved by Kevin Owens and Randy Orton. And the biggest thing that came out of that, Randy Orton staring at the title as the last shot of that there with Randy teasing. Maybe remember, vipers don't make pets, man.
Absolutely.
Can't domesticate a viper.
Absolutely. But not only that, this is a lesson that Cody was never privy to. He begged for it. He's here now. And you've got to learn this lesson. Is that at the top of the mountain, you really have no friends.
Exactly.
Everyone there that's smiling in your face, I'm not saying that they're smiling with an ulterior motive, but you can't sit there and tell me that every single one of these guys who you think is your friend and there to help you, that if given the opportunity to face Cody Rhodes for the for the WWE Universal Championship and to be able to, put yourself at the top of the card, feed your family for months on end the way Roman did, they're taking that. Right. Cody, whoever's next to you, if it's Kevin Owens, he's taking that opportunity. If it's Randy Orton, he's taking that. Each and every single one of these guys who you make, if they came out to congratulate you in WrestleMania, you're the same guys that will smack you in the face and take the opportunity to beat you down for that title. Because it means something. Cody's going to have to figure that out the hard way. He's going to.
All right, we move on to a triple threat for the women's tag team champions. We have the champions, the challengers. You got the challengers of Fire and Dawn, Baszler and Starks taking on LHM, Lord have mercy, Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair in a match where hometown favorites are in display there with everyone behind them. The back and forth where we seen the power and the elegance of Bianca Belair tag teaming with Jade to try to finish off Shayna Baszler, and out of nowhere with the German suplex heard all over Scotland, Dawn gets Jade out of the way, and Albert Fire grabbing the leg of Bianca Belair. The way they told the story where we get new women's tag team champions, phenomenal job of the way they told that, how they got the titles off of them. I know everybody's hung up on the missed opportunity or the mistake on the rope from Jade Cargill. But remember, when we mentioned, the referee said the ropes are not the springy as the same. She did that same move in France and helped her with the springboard that got on Damage Control 3 weeks prior or a month prior, whatever the case was. And then now but she recovered. No one talks about the recovery after, the sequence after with the power bombs and the power moves leading into the kick into the one-handed power slam power bomb that she did. They all talk about the mishap, but she recovered. It didn't look. They kept on. The show goes on. A great moment for the new crown champions. About a year to the date where they lost their unification titles for the NXT to Baszler and Rousey. I really enjoyed the way they told that story because it made it believable. Because Albert Fire grabbed Bianca's leg, who was going in to break up the pin, Chef. It was well done. When you do things done well, you could tolerate it.
That man. First and only thing I can say about this. Well, all right. First thing I can say about this matchup, as far as for the result, they knew how to break a man's heart.
Absolutely, and that's what wrestling does. It takes you on a roller coaster. It takes you on a roller coaster of emotion. If you have not figured that out right now in 2024, then you're doing is a disservice to watch wrestling. Wrestling is a episodic emotional investment from good, bad, evil, shock, and I can't believe moment. Are you watching this? Are you seeing this? Oh, I couldn't believe this. I can't believe this. Oh my God, this is really irating me. I'm so upset. Yada yada. But at the end of the day, that's the emotional roller coaster that you get into when you watch wrestling.
Yeah, like you said, man, they knew how to. I've been super fan of Lord of Mercy, the team of Lord of Mercy LHM, since like just even when they teased it, got the shivers down your spine. So, like you said, this is truly a roller coaster of emotion watching the results of the matchup, but the matchup itself, absolutely fire. I said, I'm gonna have to retract it because I said it last night. I said that match was the best match of the night. I'm gonna have to retract that statement. We're gonna talk about it a little bit later because we spoke about something, and I gotta, it's just keeping the same energy.
Right, and that same energy, we go to one of, yes.
Oh no, I was just finish up saying this matchup was absolutely fire. Even though Jade did have that botch, we still had the double was it double Samoan slam that she did, one on the shoulder, the other one which she held is
fall away, the double fall away slam.
Double fall away slam, and then she did the big boot into the power bomb, and then you still get Alba Fire and Isla Dawn their moment. Fire matchup. Absolutely.
And of course, we'll move on to the last images where I posted it to the young lady who put the on tweet, and I retweeted it, whereas when Bianca takes the chin and tells Jade to keep your chin up, and that's, again, there's a reason why they put Bianca and Jade together as a tag team. People say why this and yada yada, because she's helping her get into the WWE system. She's fine tuning. She's iron sharpens iron. Remember how they say that? Well, you know what? You are what you are with the people you associate. If she's going to be with the EST, then all that's making Jade become an EST, a bright superstar, brightening up her shine next to Bianca Belair, teaching her how to WWE professional. Where yes, you're not gonna win. There's gonna be times you might have to drop a title here or there, but you know what? It's the grace of winning and how you get over without going over. And Bianca's teaching her those things. Not, this is a business. It's not to be taken personal. I think if Ronda Rousey would have had a teacher similar to Bianca Belair, maybe Ronda Rousey should have been where Jade Cargill is right now as a superstar level, like that aura, because she came in with that aura, that mystique, that from the UFC, and she never lived to potential. Jade is living to potential and beyond, in my opinion, but she's got some good people around her. Maybe that's a character of herself, letting herself be open, embracing others to in her walls down to bring in and help her along the journey. Maybe Rousey did not allow to open up the walls and let others come in to help her, thinking there's always someone, a chip on the shoulder, or she's the baddest woman in the planet, that she don't need it. Maybe there's an ego. I don't know. That's another podcast for another day. But I'm saying it would have been a service if she would have taken or been a sponge like Jade has been since becoming to the WWE with the other performers in the company, and it's showing for Jade, and I love that post from there. As we go on, let's go right into the Intercontinental title here with a lot of stories behind it. Sami Zayn versus Chad Gable, where he has his two-thirds of the Alpha Academy is out there with Maxine in the walking booth, and of course Otis. The storytelling here: can Gable finally become Intercontinental Champion against Sami Zayn? By the way, the crowd decibel meter, phenomenal job on both nights. We'll talk that at the end about the crowd, in the international crowd in Scotland. But all in all, your thoughts on the match here between Gable and Sami Zayn?
I said it for, I believe, for TNA's P.L.E. If we're talking storyline wise and match quality, storyline wise, the match that gives me the in-ring story and the in-ring quality, that's the match I have to give match of the night. I had to give this match of the night as I rethought about it, Jedi. When you really think about it, this was a masterclass in both in-ring action for what you expected from these guys, but the story being told, the story that is being addressed in the middle of the ring, after the matchup, and even outside, like after, like literally immediately after the matchup, and what Sami Zayn is showing Chad Gable, the face that Chad Gable has, the way Chad Gable had to sit there and watch Sami celebrate in the ring once again. If I'm going for a storyline plus matchup, I'm sorry, this had to be the match of the night.
I mean, we've seen Gable fall short again. Sami Zayn. Sami put it's over. He gave the sign. Like, I mean, I don't know if they touch that door again with Sami and Chad. Chad with the look in his eye, like, oh my crap! I couldn't believe it. Maybe it's interesting to see where it leads up to Monday Night Raw. What direction they go with this with Chad Gable. Is he, because I don't think we've seen the end. I think he's still hell bent on getting that Intercontinental title. We'll see. Like you said, a good, intriguing storytelling match of the night, because now we're looking to see what's going to happen on Monday Night Raw between these two. Monday Night Raw is going to be juicy and spicy, as we'll move on to the women's title, world title, Bayley versus Piper Niven, hometown favorite Piper Niven with Chelsea Green. We saw Chelsea Green getting involved, getting kicked out by Charles Robinson, putting his hands on her, ejecting her out, or to see a mysterious wrestler come out in a mask. She came out, and I don't know, they never mentioned her name, but I thought it was Delicious Mysterious, came out there, or some.
Misteriosa.
Yeah, Deliciosa Misteriosa, or some people say came out as Zack Ryder was in the mask there. I don't know who it was, but Bayley continues to show us why she's one of the best underappreciated women's wrestler in the wrestling business. She got that crucifix driver to get Piper Niven over on that crucifix driver. That was a good match between Bayley. Bayley doesn't put on a snooze. She might not be the one that might steal a show, but she's right there when you need a dependable, strong, good match where you're not clean wrestling match with storytelling. That's Bayley, and I personally gonna say this is my second best favorite match of the night, to be honest with you. Bayley and Piper Niven, I enjoyed it.
This was, man. First of all, I know we're going to get into it a little bit. I have to say this.
Oh, yes.
The crowd didn't know who to cheer for.
And they were 50-50, and I like that. And that shows you what Bayley does. Yeah. Man, that's what Bayley does. And I loved it. I loved it because you had the old chants of Bayley's old song. And, of course, the Piper Niven being the hometown star. I love this, Chef. Chef, are you ready for the main event? Because we got a lot to talk about with this main event. My goodness. You had the bagpipes. We had the bagpipes. We had the Scottish band playing. And, of course, out comes McIntyre to a hell of a pop, man. That was goosebump worthy. That was a loud entrance for over 100 decibels in the arena. They had a decibel meter. They're going to use that going forward in all the WWE. I hope they do that in the American stadiums as well. I loved it. I love to see that there. And then out comes the champion, El Campeón, from Bronx, New York. The one and only Damian Priest, with the title, looking like a champion that he is. In the match here, the back and forth, the scary spot of the match, Chef Dan, was his leg getting tangled on that rope. The rope, again, it felt kind of soft where he was supposed to use. He uses the middle rope to springboard over for Damian Priest. He's been doing that since Ring of Honor. This is not a botch or a mistake that is, he's doing something out of his element. No, he's been doing that move since Ring of Honor, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep.
When he was Punishment Martinez. Now, I like the fact, first, McIntyre looks at the official, Eddie Arango. They don't know what, and then McIntyre kept it with the storyline. He kept beating him up with it. They just didn't act like, oh, what should we do? They didn't panic. True professionals, they kept on that storytelling, and they tested his leg. His leg was fine. We see the back and forth where McIntyre hits Claymore a couple times. The crucifix, the razor's edge from the top rope by Priest, the near fall finishes out in the ring. back and forth. Eddie Orango gets out of the way, almost getting crushed. Then he gets back on the apron. Then he gets going. Then he gets knocked off the apron, flying out unconscious. Then boom, aftershock gets hit. We think that none other than Drew has a chance to make the crowd go happy. Here comes referee. Is it lipstick? Is the referee lipstick coming out? The hair slicked back. He goes 1, 2, and no one and only CM Punk puts up the deuces. And he's not going to count the 3.
I don't know what that means in Scotland. That's a double middle finger.
Uh-huh. I know.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. But in here in the United States, it's deuces. And not even peace. He wasn't bringing pieces to. He wasn't bringing any peace to Drew McIntyre. He kicks him in the nads, and out comes Priest with an opportunistic. Eddie Orango gets in for the 3, and shock of all shocks to the dislike of so many people in the arena in Scotland. And Chef Dan, and my goodness, and still. Yes, but before I say and still, to the dislike of a lot of people on the Twitter machine. Yes. Especially one. I gotta shout her out. I gotta put her on blast.
Oh yeah.
Because Cherry Broken Dreams. She is losing it on Twitter. And to hear the words, and still, heavyweight champion El Campeón, Damian Priest from the Bronx. Your thoughts? This was done. What an ultimate heel. This is the Heel of the Ring podcast, by the way. I love that. I love the heel persona. I love that. I love the fact that even Wade Barrett, I would say his name backwards. Wade Barrett went bananas on commentary and the post show, where Bobby asked the question, "What do you think of this?" With Wade Barrett on his post show comments on Saturday night, he was fuming. Bravo.
I mean, that's he loves Drew McIntyre, so I'd expect him to defend Drew McIntyre. I just expect that. That's fine. I have no issue with what he said. If we're looking at it from a logistics of what's supposed to happen, like, come on now, CM Punk is not scheduled, and then he essentially what's the word? He hijacks a referee shirt.
Correct. By the way, would say, Jessica Carr gave him the shirt. He asked for the shirt, and Jessica Carr flipped it over to him. They saw the backstage footage on it.
Jessica Carr gives him the referee shirt, and he goes out there and just does what he's supposed to do, which is, I mean, I wouldn't say what he's supposed to do, but he does what he does out there. And I just say this: Drew McIntyre spent how many weeks on end talking about CM Punk? Punk has stayed relatively silent for the most part.
Right. He poked the bear.
I'm not even talking about talking on national television. It'd be one thing, you just besmirch the man's name on national television and that's it. But to then constantly be on Twitter, on Instagram, any chance he could get, he was besmirching CM Punk's name. When they got to Clash of the Castle, there's a digital frame, and he's like, "Hey, man, I want to see this loser's face when I walk in." You put Punk's face up there. I mean, the man literally told you. He said, "When I'm pushed, I'm not a demon. When I'm pushed, I am the devil himself." And you kept poking and pushing Drew McIntyre.
Yeah.
And then the man went to Jedi, coup de grace, chef's kiss.
Yes.
He goes to the press conference, the post.
That was crazy.
Eating sweets.
How sweet it was.
How sweet it was, Jedi. And what did he let them know?
What did they say? Revenge is the best dish served. It was sweet.
Sweet. Oh
yeah.
my.
Yeah, I mean, he trolled a little bit of everybody there. And I know Wade got upset because Triple H kind of like talked great about Punk, and Bobby made a good point. He wasn't barred from being a referee, by the way. But Bobby makes a great point there. And of course, he says Drew cannot hang with Punk on the microphone, period. And the story. And absolutely, it's a lot of few people that could go on a promo battle back and forth with Punk. And listen, I think Punk will cook even Cody Rhodes on the microphone. If you ask me, when that comes down the road, later down the road, if that happens. But we wait for, that's for another time when it happens. We'll debate about that. But Punk is one of those few who could talk you into a building. The fact that why Barrett is talking, you could say he's the voice of Monday Night Raw. And he felt his guy from Raw got screwed. Where storyline wise, it makes sense for Barrett to intergene or get irate, bothered, upset with management and stuff, so forth. Similar to kind of Booker T also gets like that on NXT a little bit as well with Roxanne and all the stuff. We're seeing that the announcers have personality to get irate or bothered with certain things where before they're not. You just call a match, pal. You just say what I tell you in your ear and that's it, pal. You don't mention all the other companies. You say this and this. You say sports entertainment, hospital facility, yada yada. No, they are allowed to make and voice their opinion to be part of the story or further the storyline to talk the audience, because their job is to narrate the matches to us as an audience to want to tune in to watch, not just at the moment and stay tuning, but to watch the following weeks and give you something that we can never get back is your time to go and watch that. And I think by him interjecting on Bobby in that question, I think that's what he did. That he's trying to get us to tune in to want to hear more. Is there going to be repercussions for him going outside of the line? Supposedly, in our case, painting outside the coloring book, attacking Triple H, Paul Levesque, saying that he's kissing Punk's butt, or didn't agree or disagree. He being a strong opinionated, and I think it's getting us invested to go want to watch Monday Night Raw. Is there repercussions? Is it going to be off of, maybe he stays on vacation a little bit and they could put a story on lines. You know what? I'm going to be a little bit on vacation for a couple weeks. We're already in the United Kingdom. It's summertime. I'm going to stay here for 2 weeks. They say Triple H or Pierce suspended him for 2 weeks from Monday Night Raw. Maybe that's something that's going to be part of the program. And then he says, that CM Punk cost me 2 weeks of my job. Meanwhile, he was going on vacation. Maybe that's something. Maybe that's another angle, Chef.
I said this before. I'll say it again. The hottest rivalry in wrestling right now. It is not. It's not Mommy versus Liv. It's Drew versus CM Punk, because and
doesn't need a title.
It doesn't need a title. And like what's my man's name on Instagram? Frank?
Bobby. No, Bobby.
Bobby. Excuse me. Sorry for that, Bobby. As Bobby said, most guys can't hang on the stick with Punk as far as cutting that promo back and forth. But I'm going to tell you guys, do yourself a favor. They have the playlist. Go back and watch. Like, there's a video where they do the compilation of Drew and Punk. And you start to, as you watch this compilation, go, hold up. And Drew isn't the best that might work, but damn, he's kind of going bar for bar with Punk. I prayed for it, and it happened.
No, that was great.
Slept like a bit. That promo right there, Jedi. The promo after Royal Rumble is enough to fuel everything that's happening right now. He's just adding cherries and sprinkles and whipped cream on top.
I'm going to say this. I think that promo, Chef, got him that contract extension or re-up with the WWE. Because I don't think, be honest with you, I don't think they weren't too much on the fence with him. If he wants to go, if he says, if you notice, it's okay. We got guys that we could put up in that spot. But when he started that promo with Punk, they saw money. There's money to be made here. And I think that's what got him the free up, where it took Dwayne Johnson to go and bring him a special gift after he signed with the company. Phenomenal job. Let me read one more. Let me read a couple quotes here from Bobby, because Bobby's been phenomenal tonight. And multiple people in the WC sees the change in Punk and have no issues with him being there. Of course. And these are locker room leaders. Absolutely. CM Punk, they say this is the one thing with CM Punk, Bobby. Action speaks louder than words. How do you say that? Because at least me, I'm not in the backstage at NXT or at the Performance Center or in the WWE. But here's the one thing I hear when I listen to Busted Open or other podcasts. I like to listen to different things here and there. That Punk is always there giving advice. We hear it from Trick Williams out of his mouth. We hear it from the talents, all the different from the PC, from the wrestlers in the PC. We saw him, not only just taking pictures, because pictures could be a PR stunt. Oh, let me take a picture. Meanwhile, you just happen to be there at the same time as that Punk with Cora Jade and Roxanne. That knowledge, having him picking his brain and having that conversation, talking about matches. The picture, where you saw him, where the group of wrestlers, him being invested at the Performance Center, being there on Tuesday nights, seeing the matches from the Gorilla or from the coaching spots in the corners there in the Performance Center behind the hard camera. We know what spots those are, Bobby. You could see it when we used to see Gabe Stevenson and we used to see Dory Funk Jr. He sits there and absorbs those matches and watches that. That shows action speaks louder than words. He lives in Chicago. He doesn't have to be in Orlando. He's there helping out, not just getting himself into shape and getting himself into reps, but utilizing the talents. That shows action speaks louder than words for CM Punk. Where he tried doing that in the other company, again, we don't know. We weren't there, but it felt like he wasn't well recepted for his criticism, his critiques, or his point of view in that company. That's what it seems like. I don't know if that's the truth. Again, I'm not there. I don't know if that's the truth or not, but the perceptions feels like that.
Jedi, it had to be because there's no matter what, no one's denying the fact that that fight with him and Jack Perry happened over glass and breaking a rent-a-car. No one's debating that. It was a dumb argument to have in the first place. Jack Perry's wrong for that. But we here now. We getting money on this side.
We're making money. He's got a new He's got a new T-shirt coming out, new merch coming out to be sold. His T-shirt is being sold on WWE Shop. That's on fire right now. The gates are enormous. And, of course, we hear from the media scrum that he is now heading to SmackDown this Friday. And, of course, people on the IWC, so what do you have the plant spritz for? Is he supposed to be a Raw wrestler? He's supposed to come out at Raw. Why does he come out in SmackDown? He's not wrestling, guys. The IWC, he is not wrestling on SmackDown. He is just going to give us an update on his health. And happens to be in his hometown of Chicago. You know what? Wrestling is supposed to be marketing for the crowd, for the people, for us. Like you, that's complaining, that's paying money. Maybe you live. Maybe you live in Chicago, and guess what? You might get Punk treated as a treat. Also, when they do house show, when they do dark matches on SmackDown and Raw, they have wrestlers from other brands wrestle on the dark matches. How many matches Jey Uso has wrestled on SmackDown that's not televised? A lot. Vice versa on Raw. So I don't. You kind of complain to complain. So you just love to complain. Here we go. Another from Bobby. Bobby, phenomenal again. In AEW, Tony Khan doesn't run anything. He just signs checks. The inmates runs the asylum. Gee, I heard that from Who Killed WCW, and you could see that a lot of similarities there. I know that's another podcast for another day. And the IWC, Punk draws money. He draws attention. He draws viewers. Absolutely. Everybody wants to see CM Punk, regardless. If you want to see him get his teeth kicked in or you want to see him go over, you want to see the reaction. Is he going to fly off his hinge? Is he going to do a pipe bomb? What's next? He's a must-watch TV when it comes to Phil Brooks, a.k.a. CM Punk. And him being on Friday night, I have no issues with that. It's in Chicago. He's gonna get a great proper reception. If you put him in Corporate Crispy, they're gonna sit on their hands because they're not invested in a CM Punk. You might get something where maybe Legado Fantasma. You might get them up and running. Rey Mysterio, of course, and so forth. There's a lot of Latino American, Mexican American in Corpus Christi. There, you're gonna get that. I'm pretty sure that's gonna be heavily featured with Santo Escobar and of course Dragon Lee. I believe Dragon Lee is gonna wrestle on that match, that card on Monday night. So that's catering to where your audience is. That's regular smart booking 101. And again, that's why if you listen to the IWC and you let them change your booking or who's your outcome, you're gonna get screwed. And they're reaping the benefit. They're reaping the disaster they did by allowing Cody to change the outcome of WrestleMania 40. And of course, he says he's going to get on the mic and cook everybody. That's CM Punk from Bobby. That's his last comment. That's his comment currently right now. Go ahead, Chef Dan. I just wanted to read Bobby's comment.
That's what you get.
Yeah. All in all, what a week of wrestling, but it didn't finish there. Of course, we had the big announcement at 3 o'clock earlier today. My goodness, I'm going to let someone let us know.
This is WWE superstar, the phenomenal AJ Styles, and I am here to announce that I will be coming to Japan to face Japanese legend Marufuji at the Budokan with a Noah event on July 13th.
日本で活躍し、日本を愛する戦士。そして今なお、WWE のトップを走り続けるスーパースター、AJ スタイルズ。
Marufuji, I know way too much than I should about you and how talented you are. You've been doing this for a long time, and your resume speaks for itself. But I'm not coming to Japan to lose. Let's tear the house down on July 13th.
7.13 日本武道館
Hey! All right. I love it. Yes, indeed. On the 13th, Saturday the 13th. And WWE, by the way, a week later, will be on tour at Japan. So they'll be there for the first time in 5 years. And we all know about, of course, the promotion here with Miracle, the Summer Showdown of Destiny. We're going to have Io Sky taking on Harashima. That's going to be a hell of a match there for Marigold. That's Rosie's production. I cannot wait to see that. We're seeing the interchange of wrestlers going there. Of course, AJ Styles making his big name in New Japan Pro Wrestling, but this is not New Japan. This is for Pro Wrestling Noah, where we saw Nakamura take on the Great Muta 2 years ago on his retirement match. He's been, WWE's been working and helping some of the Japanese promotion, and they're going to be big dates at the Tokyo Dome. And they have the big WWE Japan tour, first time in 5 years, on the 25th. They're going to be in Osaka, and the 27th and the 28th. They're going to be in Tokyo. The Tokyo Dome is going to be great. I wish we could see that televised somewhere, somehow. No premium live event. I personally would love to be a fly on the wall to see the aesthetics, the sounds, the looks. WWE in Japan. That's first time in 5 years. My God. I can't wait to see that. And I love that. That was a good promo. Good for WWE. They, like Triple H said, when they get to Netflix, they're gonna be 80%. They're gonna be 80% around the world. The reach. And while you have wrestlers go to different wrestling organizations to wrestle, that means that's an extension of the WWE reaching the world. If they're wrestling either in Revolve, or if they're wrestling in IWC in Scotland, or if they're wrestling in Japan, if they're wrestling in the European circuit, if they're wrestling in Mexico, in Canada, vice versa, they're extending across in Australia. They're extending their wrestling platform around the world. Even though they send one wrestler, they're representing the WWE banner and flag. So he's really trying to globalize the wrestling, where if the wrestler shows up, he's representing WWE. Those three letters, flagship. You got to be excited for that, because we didn't see that under the previous regime, or if it was kept to a nim, a quiet, a silent. So you gotta like that, Chef Dan. I love it. I'm excited for that.
Absolutely. This is right back doing it, baby.
Yes.
Intertwining, whining and dining, making it look. We letting the world know it's actual world domination. Nothing else here.
Absolutely, for the WWE. Good job there. And let's talk about the crowd. The international crowd trumps over anything the American crowd. Although, some people could say, well, they're using some of their soccer chants to the WWE, where soccer they're known for the chant, because this is such a monotone sport, back and forth, back and forth. They have to chant to get them going, and they use that to liven up the crowd. I'm not going to go there with that. I'm going to think the crowd, they're excited to be there. They're appreciative of what they're watching, these performers who traveled across these long flights to go and entertain them. And they're, to me, I find like a appreciation of the performers. We're going to cheer you no matter what you do out there because you came so far to entertain us. They have a different perspective, a different view, or a different thought process than the American thought process in entertainment. And I think I appreciate that from the international crowd. I would love to be in an international crowd, being part of the, maybe I won't even understand what they say if I'm in one of those European or in the Scottish countries or an English country, but I would love to participate in that. I would love to be in that. I would have loved to be in Backlash Puerto Rico. I think I would have been phenomenally overwhelmed with how phenomenal that would have sounded personally. I would have loved to be there. I hope that the American crowd brings it. I hope that they bring out the meters, not to shame the American crowd, but we gotta learn how to cheer. We gotta learn how to get going, man. It's not just it can always be NXT. It's gotta be the crowds over the 10,000 plus arenas. Let's go. We can't wait for WrestleMania. We need you to bring that energy every time, Chef.
Yeah. Like it's like, it seems like American crowds are super lazy. The only time they bring the energy is like literally after the IWC then gave them hell on the internet about why they're so slow, and like some crowds get it, but then like immediately next event, and at that point, like, keep the noise-o-meter going. And not only that, it should be very important. If the noise-o-meter at a certain point never hits a certain decibel, you should not be getting PLEs. You don't deserve them.
Wow. I mean, we'll see on that. That's maybe the new norm in WWE, where they're measuring crowds and venues and who's worthy for a Raw, SmackDown, and etc. For the TV tapings. But I think we covered the week. We're setting up for tomorrow. Please join us tomorrow for Monday Night Raw watch along. We have a lot of questions. I want to know if that hotel key was used. Who took the hotel key? Who went in there? Did she rock someone's world? Did she take them to Space Mountain? Or was there a Dirty Sanchez being given out? I don't know. All those questions we need to ask. We need to find out on Monday Night Raw with Liv Morgan's key. Definitely want to know definitely who used it. Was that Forbidden Door used or not? We all want to know those questions. We also want to know Money in the Bank qualifying matches. We got some Money in the Bank qualifiers setting up here because it's only 3 weeks away. A quick turnaround for another premium live event at the beginning of the month there in Toronto. Who will be privileged enough to participate, to climb that ladder, to get that Money in the Bank opportunity to cash in on a world champion of their choice. So I cannot wait to see that. Also, the QR code, according to the clocks, it's winding down, and it could be tomorrow the night where could put some spice in the Corpus Christi crowd, where we're gonna find out who is behind all these QR codes. What is it all about? Are we going to get finally the mystery resolved of who is behind all of this? Who's taking the hostile takeover of the accounts on Twitter, Twitch for the WWE? Who is that mysterious person? Is it who we think it is? Only time will find out. Are we going to revel in who we are? Only time will tell for Monday Night Raw, of course. Then we got Tuesday. We're going to set up who is those 25 men who gets the honor, the privilege to battle it out, not get thrown over the third rope, and has a chance to put themselves as the number one contender against Trick Williams on Heat Wave. And we're going to find out if we have some clarity on the number one contender for the Roxanne's title, and will Kalani Jordan defend her first title defense on Tuesday night? All those questions and more. And what will the doctors say about CM Punk later in the week on Friday? All eyes on the health of CM Punk and his health report. And then, of course, the Impact Zone. We're going to see the Chicago Street Fight. Will we see Frankie Kazarian beat up on Ace Steel? Ace Steel get on his own trick, go get down and dirty like he's from Chicago and beat the crap out of Frankie Kazarian, and so much more. We're going to hear from Jeff Hardy in the TNA Impact Zone and his mission statement in TNA, and so much more. So we appreciate everyone for joining us here on the Heel of the Ring podcast. And, of course, more news coming out of the New Japan or the NOAH as well as Miracle Promotions and the card coming up, setting up for the summer. I mean, my God, the international summer of the WWE. This is the summer of wrestling. I mean, you're getting international premium live events out of the yin yang, tours across the pond, now across the Far East, and of course, all eyes to SummerSlam. What's in store for the Bloodline, for Kevin Owens and Randy Orton interfering and sticking their nose into business? Are they going after Cody Rhodes? Those are the questions that we're going to be answering or looking for answers this week in the week of wrestling. So, for myself, BX Sports Jedi Kev, the Michelin star Chef Dan, we want to say thank you for joining us on the Heel the Ring podcast. Thank you for allowing us to have this conversation about the week of wrestling for the journey. Bobby, Mr. Bobby Munoz, thank you so much, man. I always ask you to come on and be part because you are a wrestling encyclopedia to come on and join us. But I guess he's a little camera shy, guys. But Chef Dan, give me your final thoughts so we can say goodnight here.
Final thoughts. The week of wrestling, highly, highly motivating. You get Monday was a go-home show. Tuesday, NXT letting us know what's going on. Wednesday, good break. Great break. Then you get Thursday, TNA. Friday night, SmackDown. Then you get a P.L.E. on Saturday. Like, we cooking, baby. We cooking. And coming up Monday, like you said, it's a firework-heavy show. Can't wait. I'm excited. I don't know if I'm going to be able to go to sleep tonight. I'm just waiting that much more for Monday. Let's go.
Well, here you go. The quicker you go to sleep, the quicker Monday gets here. So with that said, everyone, remember, if you ain't down with the Heel the Ring podcast, we only have 2 words for you. Just subscribe. And may the sports be with you. We'll be back with the rest of the Heel the Ring crew. Don't forget to check out our partners on the different wrestling podcasts, different podcasts that collaborate with us. And we thank you guys all. Have a good night. Remember, don't let life pin you. Always get over. Don't get down. You have a 3 count to get up, and that means in life. So we'll talk to you later. From me to you, Sports Jedi Kev. Have a good night. Have a blessed week. Let's go. Another new week of wrestling.
Acknowledge me. You people bought a ticket to see me, so shut up.
Sometimes I get so mad, there's no control.
Ladies and gentlemen, just in case you live under a rock,
I might grab it bad, I don't know, my rap, my blood boils over like, oh God, here goes. I lost all feeling from my head to my toes. You said some shit that I can't let go, so just stay tuned for the rest of the show. So have you ever felt betrayed? Switches how you see things, realize